Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and someone who knows a lot about Japanese spandex. Incoming random review in 3, 2, 1.
Before we begin, thank you very much too for watching. I stay addicted, so you stay away. I've never gotten a Patreon donation that used my old catchphrase. I haven't even used that. Aside from just the fact that I haven't done Plastic Addict in a while, I haven't even used that catchphrase in a long time because it's a ripoff of the Nostalgia Critics, and I don't want to rip him off. So, thank you for the nostalgia trip. Thank you for getting me to say the old outro I haven't said in years. That's a really funny way of doing a Patreon shout-out request. So, as always, thank you guys for keeping those interesting. It's always funny to see what you guys come up with just to keep the streak going, which, yeah, we might make it to the end of the month. We'll see. All right. Review time once more. We are going to be talking a lot of Rise of the Beasts here in the next week or so because, obviously, the movie's about to come out. And I've got a huge amount of plans for when that happens. But for now, let's talk about the stuff that is actually out and available, and that is the toys. We are looking at the brand new Core Series Optimus Prime. That is to say, it is the Mainline Rise of the Beast toys that is also called Core, even though that's a size class, but this is actually a Voyager. Yeah, that's Hasbro. So, alright, so let's take a look. Let's see how this thing came out, shall we? So, I mean, as always, Optimus Prime makes a very nice semi-truck because this is we finally have the director just confirming, yes, this is a reboot universe. So we are sticking with the Bumblebee incarnation, which is back to this retro design, flat nose box semi-truck, nice red, bit of blue in the back, and then some gray through and all about with some silver to highlight. It's a pretty standard looking Optimus Prime, aside from some added details to give it a little bit more definition. They were nice enough to paint things like the side mirrors, which actually are done up in silver, and then over here the tops of the windshields done up in silver, breaks up the red just a little bit. Not a bad idea. Toward the front, I could really use something different besides red for the headlights. That seems like an odd color choice when you're barreling down the road. It's nighttime. The last thing I really want to see two gigantic red lights right, heading at me in the opposite lane. Suffice to say, like, they actually do have some other headlights in the bottom here, the signals that are all blue. And then, yeah, the grill's done up in the gray along with the striping, which is, a little bit more classic of Optimus. Striping is on the side as well, though not quite in the traditional locations, but it'll work in the robot mode. Autobot symbols, nice and vivid right there on the side in white. And yeah, like we said, a little bit of blue there in the rear. I'm very happy to say Optimus Prime actually did something with his feet for this transformation. Taking a nod from the recent Huffer toy, his feet actually do become something of a work bed in the back. It's not a bad use of them. I prefer them to be solid blue, so they just look like a blocked off section of the rear of the truck. But I get it. Fine, okay, it's whatever. At least the feet aren't just sticking out the back or just sticking straight up. At least they are somewhat incorporated into the vehicle mode. I'll accept it. I will take it for what it is. There's other little details too. A little bit more silver down at the bottom. The extra gas cans there on the side are elements that fold out from the robot mode. And then, yeah, he has a trailer hitch in the back, which we can take his ion blaster out. So yeah, we have a little bit of a trailer hitch there too. Should we ever get something to actually tow for this toy? The one weird detail for me is, well, number one, if we start looking at the back, yeah, we can start seeing the gaps where this toy is not all that solid. A lot of Optimus Primes do that these days, which is unfortunate, but it happens. And I also do not understand the wings. Like, I did a quick Google search for, like, semi-trucks from the 90s. I can't find any that have these, like, wings hanging off of the exhaust pipes. I can't find it. Granted, It's a very cursory bit of research, but I'm saying for something that's kind of a major, like, unique element for this Optimus Prime design, kind of shocked that I couldn't find any, like, real-world example of it. But is what it is. So yeah, it's not a bad little Optimus Prime. And by little, I do mean it does feel and look substantially smaller than most Voyagers. This is the mainline movie stuff, so the size is a little bit different. It's a little bit interesting. So I think we should get this guy transformed and really see what we got going on here, because the transformation is where a lot of this figure starts to come out and really start to impress. So for starters, I'm going to undo the panels here in the front. We're going to have a fairly traditional Optimus Prime transformation with a few new bells and whistles. So close those panels up to the side like so. Go ahead and fold the gas cans down like so. And you're going to unpin the front wheels from what will be the hips. You can go ahead and fold those up. They're on a double hinge. And then fold them like so. That will get them out of the way for the rest of the transformation. The legs are pinned in right here at the thigh, so go ahead and pull those down. Connect it to here, or feel that snap right there. We're going to go ahead and start unfolding the arms like so. Bend them at the elbows, flip out the hands, and then we can start rotating the arms out like so, just like the classic Optimus Prime transformation. These pipes are on a double hinge, so go ahead and accordion them back like so that the exhausts are on the back side of his arms. From here, we're going to go ahead and rotate those arms forward and get those out of the way. All right. Let's focus on the legs before we get to the head transformation. So rotate all of this 180 degrees to bring all of his front details forward. Make sure you undo the hitch and actually fold that so before you start pulling the legs apart, because it is part of what holds everything together. Once it's out of the way, everything just unsnaps from each other. The legs are a little bit weird, where there's this like center block that does a 180 degree rotation in order to get into place. It's not just as simple as just folding the feet down. So get those all the way transformed. They're not the most tight fits, but you'll feel a little bit of detent where they do rest. And now let's focus on getting that head out. So this is actually kind of neat. So I'm going to unfold this panel, and then I'm gonna fold this panel down, which is gonna make this panel come up, and then I'm gonna fold this panel down, which makes the head come up, and then I'm gonna fold that panel down again. There's a lot going on here. Crack the chest open, but be careful. This is not a Matrix Door Optimus Prime. They are on a hinge. That hinge does not have much space, so it's just enough to open it, just like so. And as you can see, don't get overzealous with it. But that will allow you to make the head come up all of the way. The gap is part of the design. So there you go. Don't make my mistake. I made it intentionally to show you what not do. Yeah. So that's your transformation. That is your Optimus Prime in his robot mode. It's a really nice transformation for a Voyager class price point. It has a few elements that kind of remind me of the intricacies of the Kingdom figure. Most notably, like, I do really like how, like, all the arm panels fold up. I do like how, like, the center block changes so much. More importantly, like, look at this. Look at how clean he is. Look at how clean that Prime is. Much like the Kingdom or Earthrise version, really the only junk to him is a set of tires that ends up on his back. Other than that, he's actually looking pretty nice. There's a lot of like really clean transformation engineering going on here. Love to see it. Love seeing a nice smooth transformation. It's interesting enough to be fun to do, and yeah, very, very satisfying robot mode that tucks in together nicely all over. Let us go to the head close-up. Not that you need a reminder of what Optimus Prime's head looks like, but just in case you want to see how this one separates itself from others. Because we are dealing with a Bumblebee, like a post-Bumblebee Optimus Prime, it is far more G1 than the Bayverse one. It is a closed faceplate with some added detailing to it. The crest is painted in silver on this one. And yeah, he's looking pretty good. No real complaint here. The eyes do have a translucent element to them, so they are light piped. I don't have a light to demonstrate it. and we've had the debate over light piping on this channel before. I'm not going to get into it. Suffice to say, at the very least, the blue is opaque and bright enough to actually see the eyes, even if there is no light directly behind it. So, yeah, not a bad head sculpt. Looking nice here. Prime himself is pretty well proportioned in the robot mode. It's, it does definitely lean more toward movie aesthetic than Generations, but it does feel kind of Generations in just how the transformation works. Like I said, it feels closer to something like Earthrise Optimus Prime rather than Studio Series Optimus Prime, even though it accomplishes a very similar look. Now, speaking of the look, we're going to talk the elephant in the room here, which is a lot of this Prime is really not molded in the colors that it seems. A lot of his parts, like the forearms, the fronts of his shoulders, the chest and all that, like that is a lot of painted red plastic, or that's a lot of painted gray plastic. He actually does not have as much molded red as you would imagine. It's easier to spot in the vehicle mode, where the color tones are definitely different from each other. If I show you at the top here, you can see where his shoulder is much brighter in color than the red plastic that's making up the torso. That's how you tell the difference. Hasbro still cannot quite get the shading between paint and plastic to match 100%. It's only distracting if someone on the internet points it out to you, and then you can never stop seeing it. Beyond that, though, the blue is entirely paint. I don't even think the head is molded blue plastic. It's strange. It's a strange choice to think that, the only blue plastic on Optimus Prime is the translucent blue of the windshield. That's literally it, which is odd. It's a very strange choice to, omit the blue so much. And it really needs something here. When I look at the torso midsection, you kind of start to appreciate how the original Optimus Prime breaks up all of that, with the red extending down the midsection around the grill area of his stomach, and then with the yellow hits around the pelvis area. That breaks those colors up, so it's not just like a sea of solid gray. This is a sea of solid gray, and it's not the best looking. It really does need something besides that little hit of black paint right in the middle of his crotch. I could do with something a little bit better than that, But yeah, besides that, yes, the look of the toy is actually still pretty good. I imagine a customizer will have a field day with all of the molded detail in this that's getting washed out by the gray. So, articulation level. Head is 360 degrees. It's not on a ball joint. It's just full 360 degree rotation all the way around. Universal shoulder joints. Love to see those. The shoulder is actually independently pivoted, so you can also adjust that for posability if you really want to. There is a bicep rotation. There is an elbow that goes beyond the 90. Absolutely love. There's a wrist rotation thanks to the ball joint, which also means the wrist can bend inward if you want that to happen. It has the waist joint, which works okay. The torso also still has the rotation from, the waist. Okay, yeah, so if you really want waist rotation, you got to use the torso as well, which gives a more dynamic and more realistic look, I think, because the waist rotation hits a hinge there, and that's going to slow it down. That said, if you want to break the transformation, you can also get an ab crunch out of him, too. Thighs, universal, panel folds out of the way to hide it, nice, like that. Rotation at the thigh works really, really well. 90-degree knee bend, forward and back on the ankle tilt, side to side ankle tilt, love to see that. Prime has a ton of articulation for his size, for his price point. Love to see it. We can put the ion blaster back too. He doesn't come with the arm cannon, strangely enough, which is actually my preference. The Mega Man guy prefers Transformers with rifles than arm cannons. Figure that one out for me. The one thing you should be aware of when purchasing this thing, when you see it for the first time in person, is, yes, he is small for a Voyager. You are paying for a level of engineering complexity and molded detail that generally a Generations toy does not come by. So there's Metal Hawk, my favorite size comparison lately, because you either have a Metal Hawk or you have a Cyclonus. Either or, you get an idea of how big this guy is. And yeah, like a lot of these core series Rise of the Beast toys, he's on the smaller side. It doesn't necessarily mean he's bad, but he's got to do more to be worth your money. And in the case of this Optimus Prime, he's doing that through a really smooth transformation and a very high level of articulation for his size class. So if those things carry extra value to you, then you're going to be absolutely fine with the Prime. For me, I think as a toy, like, I enjoy the transformation of it quite a bit. It's, there's a lot of nice bells and whistles that aren't overly complicated or confusing. Even the Kingdom figure, as much as I think it's a marvel of engineering, can get a little bit fiddly to the point where I'm like, I can just leave him in robot mode. But this one's fun to transform. So maybe that's worth the extra money to some people. I'm happy enough with the toy. Could be a little bit cheaper, but I'm happy enough. So that is your core class Voyager Optimus Prime, who is definitely not core size. Yeah, not a bad toy at all. Still hard for me to find in my area, and now I have to figure out how to find the Primal, of which I think only one has been seen in the entirety of my section of the country. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you can find this toy. Might be worth your time. Until next time.
We're gonna have to get your names for the books. You, Pale One.
William Current.
Roll me a deception check.
I thought their name was Pain.
Roll a disadvantage.
Okay. Alright.
That was like the opposite of the help action there. You, Goblin.
First name D's.
Watch your tongue.